Hello. I wanted to take a few moments at the beginning of Learning Module 3 to give you a few video instructions to go along with the audio and the audio script and the written directions that you already have in the Learning Module. Sometimes students have a difficult time with this module because of the volume of material that's contained within. It's probably the most dense content-wise of all of the modules. So I ask for your patience, and I ask you to consider that the material included in this module will be used throughout the rest of the 10 weeks, so don't worry if you can't digest it all in this short week. Basically, the focus of this module is to introduce you to the idea of the literature review. You will complete an article critique, which is your first major assignment that's due at the end of week 3. And the rubric for that is included in several places to help you find it. One on the course content page in the syllabus and assignment rubrics folder. Secondly, I connected it to the calendar. And then thirdly, I connected it to this learning module so you can access it. It's all the same, and so you can find it in either of those 3 places. Doing an article critique is essential to doing a good literature review, because at this stage, at your graduate level of work, it is expected that you'll be able to do more than just summarize an article, but be able to critique it intelligently, discussing factors such as the question, the clarity of the question, the focus of the question, how the author decided to conduct their research, how the author decided to write about their research. Did their findings match their question, and did their findings match what they found in the literature themselves? Because any research article that you read will also have its own literature review. So I want to focus today a little bit on the PowerPoint and give you some tips. Okay, so I'm looking at the PowerPoint. I'm going to focus the camera on the slides as I go through them. It's brief, and I'll just expand a little bit and elaborate on what's written there. So the first slide is what is a literature review, if you want to follow along. A literature review basically is an argumentative essay, and I know it says that here, but I find that students have difficulty understanding what that means. One way to think of it is to think about writing an essay, writing an argument paper, or an argumentative speech. When you took speech class, you wrote persuasive speeches. To write an argument essay, that's why is your question important? Why is it important to you? Why is it important to teachers? What can answering this question help you do as a teacher to improve learning and improve teaching in your classroom? And so the literature argues for that, not only from your opinion, which is important. This is not a third-person research paper. This is a first-person detailed account of why you want to do this project that's accompanied by and supported by others who have looked at the similar questions that you have. Okay? So I want to include a few more resources. One is this wonderful book by Gerald Pine. I'll hold it up there. I really enjoy this book. It was published last year, and I love the focus of collaborative action research that Pine focuses on. But in his chapter on conducting teacher action research in the practice of, on page 248, he quotes Hart, who says that a good literature review serves several purposes in facilitating the inquiry process. That means it'll make it easier for you to go about your project, including helping the researcher to distinguish between what has been done and what needs to be done. It helps you to understand the structure of the problem. It helps you to discover important variables relevant to the study. It helps you to identify relationships between ideas and practice. It helps you to identify areas of controversy. Not everybody agrees with your question. Some people may think that the problem could be solved with a different question. Establish and define the social, educational, or cultural context of the problem or the question, and to identify methodologies and research approaches that have been used and could be employed in conducting the research, and to place the research in a historical context. So this can be very important, especially if you are studying current contemporary issues such as English language learners or special education issues or things that are quite in the forefront of the media and of educational policy and things like that. All right, so you are going to argue, but you're going to have the support from the literature that you collect. So can you see how doing an article critique will help you to do this? Now you have two choices on your article critique. You can choose one that goes along with your topic, just make sure you get it approved by me, or you can choose one that's in the folder on the course content homepage. Either way will give you good practice, and you can incorporate your article critique right into your literature review. Okay? All right, I want to go to the next slide and talk about the purposes of a literature review. Now on here we talk about quality and quantity. I'm really more concerned with quality. You have a brief amount of resources that you must include in your literature review. That's contained in the literature review rubric, and remember that's not due until week 7, so you have quite a bit of time. But you also need to think about explaining how these sources helped you come to your question, or helped you decide on your methodology, or helped you understand the historical background of your question. So research can really help you. The literature can really help you clarify your focus and your point. Okay? The next slide just talks about more about the purpose. It will help you be analytical. It will help you understand the subject matter. I've had students who came to me with a burning issue, and when they went to the literature, they realized that the issue was broader and more complex than they had ever thought. And this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. This is a really good thing to happen, because it can help you focus in specifically on what it is that you're trying to answer the question of. Okay? All right, sorry for moving around here. All right, so the article analysis critique, which is your assignment due next week, has you ask questions about the article that you collected. You will do this for each of the articles in your literature, but you won't have to write a complete critique of the scope that you're doing for my assignment. Okay? All right. When you write a literature review, you are practicing the skills of analysis and synthesis. You use tools such as definitions. You use analogies and metaphors. You can compare and contrast complex ideas or contrary ideas about the topic. These are good things. Find holes in the literature. Make critiques of arguments. You are perfectly capable of critiquing someone's argument and telling us why a published piece of literature does not apply in your case. This is really important because it highlights the importance of the contextuality of your classroom. And I know many of you are not in the classroom yet, but those of you who are know what I mean. Your classroom is different from your teacher neighbors next door. And so teacher research, action research like this, can help contextualize your problem. And so when you're including research, you can say, John Smith looked at the problem of ELL learners in the 2nd grade, but he looked at it in a different context. He looked at it in the urban context of Los Angeles. Here we are in the Chicago suburbs, or we're in Chicago. Things are different because what is the demographic makeup of your whole school? Perhaps that's different. And so you can do that and give a lot of strength to your argument. I've also included a website that's in the learning module, and that's a new link in there that I've not had before. I didn't mention it in the directions because I didn't want to redo the PDF of the directions, but it is in the learning module. And if you click on it, there's a wonderful brief website. It's just one page that outlines the processes of writing an argument. So I hope this video has been helpful, and if you have further questions, that you will continue to ask me and keep me posted on your progress. Thank you.